I'm committed to freedom. And you all got little cards because I'm also a person who likes to see things on visual, so I wanted you to walk away with something. So the 7 steps that I'm going to talk about today, you have on that little card. I do want to tell you something. Life is about surrender, whether you like it or not. So, I sent 2 boxes of product here. One came. The one that didn't come was all the music. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm surrendered. So here's the deal. The music that you hear today and the music that you heard last night, you can go to my website, whatwillsetyoufree.com. The song that you heard last night is called Check Your Intention. It's on a CD called Standing in the Light. And the music that you will hear today, the opening and the closing, are on a CD called Transcendence. So, let me tell you, I know that I came here to be about freedom, and I want to read to you something. I love Howard Thurman. Howard Thurman was a mystic and a teacher and a writer, and he had something so wonderful to say about freedom. You know, the definition of freedom is that we're free of restraints, and that we're the liberty of a person to define themselves from oppression and to move from unpleasant convictions. But this is what he has to say. Give me the strength to be free. For many, being free means movement, change, reordering. Give me the strength to be free. Often to be free means the ability to deal with the realities of one's situation so as not to be overcome by them. It is the manifestation of a quality of being and living that results not only from understanding one's situation, but also from wisdom in dealing with it. It takes strength to affirm the highest prerogative of the Spirit. And you will find that if you do, a host of invisible angels will wing to your defense, and the glory of the living God will envelop your surroundings. We have a lot of people on this planet who are in a state of overwhelm because they don't know that. They don't know that they can activate within themselves something that is so powerful that there is nothing that can damage it. I am standing up here because I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle because if you look at my herstory, it will tell you that I should really be in a state of depression and gloom. Because I grew up in a violent household. I came from a family that believed in chaos. My stepfather consistently beat my mother, sexually abused me. There was rampant violence everywhere. So much so that I thought that was the norm. Now, I would tell you, when I grow up, I am so out of here. Except I didn't understand that I took it with me. So, relationship became my path of discovery, and I married or slept with the same person in a different body many times. I recreated the same thing I was so adamant about leaving. Is there anybody in here that can relate to that? Thank you. So, after, yet another relationship that was out of control, and I love to tell the story. So anybody that would listen, I would activate them and call them in. So I'm in this gospel choir, and I'm sitting next to this woman, and I'm telling her about the latest dude that left me. She says, "You need this," and she hands me a book. The book is The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, right? Now, let me just tell you this. My family was highly spiritual. I was brought up in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Say that 3 times quickly. And so we were spiritual. Plus, I came from a lineage of really intuitive women. healers in fact. But because they had so much violence and stuff in their history, they couldn't tap into it consistently. So when I get this book that was written in the early 1900s, I'm like, who is this woman who really has written down my thoughts over time? I knew nothing about transcendentalists. But I start reading and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if I can begin to actualize this. Now, meanwhile, I'm still in my crazy behavior, and I'm going to Al-Anon because my biological father was a drunk, and so, there was all kinds of stuff, but there was something that was attached to this book, and so here comes this woman in my life that was dating someone I barely knew, and she walked into my face and she said, "You are at a crossroads. If you choose the light, you will become a transformative agent." I'm like, whoa. She says, there's a church in Los Angeles, and it's called Guidance, and there's a man named Dr. Morgan that is the minister, and you might want to go there. So I don't even know why I said yes, because I knew nothing about religious science or New Thought or anything else, but I went, and I walked in and immediately felt this energy. And it felt like I wanted to cry, and it made no sense. And I sit down, and here's this little black man up on the stage, and he's talking away, and he's sharing without notes, and he's doing all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa, he's like speaking to my soul. So I decided that I didn't know why, but I was going to start taking these classes. He had a cadre of teachers, including Michael Bernard Beckwith, who was just a practitioner at that time. So I got dropped in a vortex of learning that was accelerated and powerful. And here's the thing, they didn't want to know my story. And I tried to tell it in very creative ways. Because here's the thing, I was an actress too. And drama. I was good at it. Attention actress disorder is what I had. So anyway, it started this journey, and what it led me to was the understanding that I was not here to do any of that. I was here to really bring my light and to show people and be a way shower. So I want to talk about, is anybody here still telling their story? Oh, only one person raised their hand? Oh, really? Okay. So the thing is, how long have you been telling this story? Right? And you've gotten creative. Some of you have learned to amplify it, depending on who you're with. Are you bored with it? Some of your friends and family are. Have you started to get how you feel when you tell this story? Have you noticed that your body constricts? That you start to be depressed? Hey, flip side of depression is expression. If you are in that story of the doom and gloom of your life and you are feeling constricted, you cannot be expressing who you came here to be. Now that story does have merit, it gives you a payoff. For some of you, you get to be heard. You get to be seen. You get to be a victim, even though you're on the spiritual path, you'd say, But that's what you get to be, and it gets to be subtle. Because that story dances with the ego, sleeps with the pain body, and they have a menage a trois off the roof Richter scale. Thank you. So here's the thing. You have to be willing to let it go. For some of you, it's a willing to be willing. But the willingness to let it go activates the seed in the universe that starts moving you to higher levels of consciousness. That willingness is the thing that will support your freedom. Because as long as this story runs you as a definition of who you are in prison. I love working with the women in prison. I feel like it's part of my dharma. The moment I walk into the prison, I'm like enjoying it. It's like it makes no sense. Prison, right? But these women are hungry. When you sit them down and you talk to them, they want to release those stories and those old behaviors and those wounds. They want to stand in a place of empowerment. They just don't know how because of their life circumstances. This is why you, the light workers, because that's why you're in this room, this is where you come in. We get to model for these people that the stories, the experiences, and the events of our life do not have power unless we give it to them. Everything is only energy and information until you name it. What you name it is important. So let me tell you a little bit more. There's this path of chaos and unrest. I know it well because I grew up in it. So there's these events that happen in the past. We latch on to them. We drag them, forget them now, because we are into the future. We're creating the future based on the past. And we're telling people, or we're just transmitting it, we're attracting it, and then we can't figure out why it's so screwy. But here's the thing. You must release the past and stop projecting into the future so that you can be present. In the present is the gift. In the present is the love. In the present is the joy of your spirit revealing itself. You are here to be present. Have you ever been talking to someone, sharing your heart, and they're looking to see who just came in the room? Some of you are them. Some of you don't know how to be present. You get distracted. You know, how many of you have set a goal or had something coming and you knew it was powerful? You start working on it, you let it go, and then somebody else makes $1 million at it. Right? How many of you set intentions in January and have forgotten what they are in February? I'm joking a little bit, but not really. Because we are so easily distracted. Oh, and now we have the internet. And Facebook. And Twitter. And LinkedIn. All wonderful tools. But do you have any idea how many people sit in front of those devices all day long and do not start fulfilling their mission? But they will tell you easily about the past and why they're afraid about the future, but they're not present. And we're teaching our children to do that. You know, they're dropping off the grid. They've got so much technology and stuff that they're activating these pleasure zones, and school is boring to them because they're old paradigms. And so they're dropping off the grid and they're creating these little communities that are spiritually immature and don't know how to support each other. And some of them are so enlightened with their energy that they brought to the planet that they don't know how to deal with it, and so they're opting out. I went to a memorial the other day for a young woman, 23 years old, amazing, who just could not manage the energy that was coming, and they tried to medicate her, which took her over the edge. We are here to be present.